Welcome to Alaskan Freedom.
We just got done finished, or Elaine grilled some chicken Innisal for us. Yes, delicious. So we just finished lunch, and now we're going to show you some projects we're working on. First thing we want to show you real quick is we had a friend over today who brought in the excavator, a mini excavator, and flattened out and got rid of a lot of tree stumps there and over here and on the other side of the cabin. So that was kind of cool. But the project we're showing you today is...
We're going to show you the first stage of our power system.
Yeah, let's go show you that. It's in the shed here.
In 2023, we moved to Alaska to fulfill our dream of a better quality of life. Follow along as we transform our few acres of Alaskan off-grid virgin land into our dream homestead.
We are Jay and Elaine, and this is Alaskan Freedom.
We're in this shed right now. This shed we use just for storing things. It's not really a shop. I don't work out of here, but I keep all my tools in here. And the plan for this is we're going to insulate and probably actually drywall the walls in here, most of them. And then even drop the ceiling. And the reason we're dropping the ceiling, we're only dropping it about maybe 12 inches. But we're going to drop it so that we can have a layer of insulation and then a good flow through of ventilation all the way through. If I didn't drop it, I don't have it properly vented for each set of rafters. So that all anyway is going to be later in the summer. But what we're doing today is we are starting on getting our batteries and our solar system and all that installed and hooked up. And that's going to be inside of here. That's one of the reasons that we're going to insulate this. This is going to be heated with a diesel heater during the winter to keep our batteries warm. They are self-heating batteries, but we want to keep this warmer so the batteries aren't pulling a bunch of power in the very cold days. And the wall we're doing is this wall over here. So this wall here, this specific area right here, is going to be where everything is. So this wall, today we are going to insulate, vapor barrier, and hang plywood on this wall. We are doing the rest of it, like I said, in probably drywall, just because then I can paint it and it'll be nice and kind of bright and clean in here. But I want this wall to be plywood because this is where all the heavy equipment for the power system is going to be hanging. So the inverter, the chargers, there's 3 chargers, 2 solar chargers, and 1 charger that hooks up to the batteries, and all the wiring, the bus bars, everything, fuses, and eventually even the sub panel that runs the power to the cabin is all going to be hanging on this wall. The batteries will not be, they'll be on shelves, but everything else will be hanging on this wall. So we're going to put up plywood so that it can handle that heavy weight. So the first thing we got to do is get everything out of here so I can work on this wall. So that's what we're doing now. Got this wall cleared off, ready to work on. Next, we're going to insulate it. This wall is 2x4. When I built this shed last summer, I had no intention of putting the power system in here and ever heating this. So I did 2x4 walls on 3 sides. Long story why it's only 3 sides. But I guess it'll still work. If, cold Alaska winters, I should have a thicker wall. But this is only going to be heated to about 40 degrees. We're not keeping this warm. Just enough so the batteries are safe in here and I can store things in here like paints and liquids and things like that without them freezing. So we're not going to be having this super warm in here, so it's not a big deal. So I have some insulation left that is actually from our ceiling, and it is 10-inch thick insulation. So we are going to take that, and it's 2 foot wide, 10 inches thick. We're going to take that and we're going to peel it into 3 different sections so that, and then cut it down so that it just fits in here. No reason to buy new insulation when I have that left over. So I'm going to crawl into the cabin right now and pull that out and get this wall here insulated up. And then we will put a vapor barrier over it before we hang up the plywood. So basically just that over and over. I was going to peel this into 3, but it looks like just peeling it in half is going to work. You don't want to stuff insulation in so it's packed, but putting this in half, it looks like it's going to work out okay. So it won't be forced in there and trying to expand out, putting pressure on anything. This is also going to be a screwed on plywood, so I'm not worried about the pressure actually. So I got to do this whole wall, which is, it's not big. It starts at 12 foot, slopes down to 7 foot, and is 7 foot 6 inches wide. So it's not a huge wall, but it's going to take me a little time and probably be kind of boring to watch. So let's just skip forward to when this is done. Almost done. I just got these 3 pieces left, and I got 3 pieces laying here on the ground that just need to be cut. Problem is I own a brand of tools called Houdini tools, and if you set them down, they disappear. I can't find my knife now. I just had it right here. Seriously? Nope. Found it. Houdini tools. You'll never find them.
The wall in our shed is insulated and covered with plywood, and Jay also built a battery stand
We built it
or
together.
battery shelves.
We built it together, but yes, it's done. We did what we need to do to get ready to install our system. This wall is finished. Put the shelf back up. This is, I don't know if you saw earlier when I was taking it down, just kind of where we put overflow items that we use in the house, toilet paper and paper towels and stuff. The shelf's back up, and now we are going to try to figure out how to hang all this stuff and install it.
There's some main components that we're putting together on the system, and this is one of it.
That's the solar charger.
Solar charger.
So this is the panels. From the solar panels, wires will come into here. And then this charger here is a battery charger. This one can plug into the generator, so we can also power the batteries off the generator when we don't have enough sun or in the winter. Those are the first 2 things. So this is where the power will be coming in off of these 2 units to charge the batteries. Then next,
We have our inverter.
yep,
3,000 watts.
3,000 watt inverter. If any of you follow Sean's channel, this is the one thing we're doing different than Sean. I believe his is a 2,200 watt or something. This is just the one step up. And the only reason I went one step up is because I'm going to try to use some power tools off of this too, the table saw and stuff. So we'll see how well this handles it. But other than that, everything else is the same as his system.
We have 2 300 amp hour batteries.
Later, towards the end of the video, or if you want to skip ahead if this is what's important to you, we'll talk about the brands and what everything cost. But for now, we are just going to try to get it put together correctly. So the batteries are going to stay on the stand, and the other components that we showed you, the inverter, the 2 chargers, and then the bus bars and all the breakers and everything are all going to be installed and hung on this wall. And then pull off the level and do the 2 on the top.
Is everything?
Yeah. Okay. So now, oh.
Where is it? Is it this one?
Yes, that's it. Next, we're going to put the bus bars in. All the cables from everything basically go through these. These are the heart of the system, I guess you could say. So we've got to put these kind of centralized where everything will be around them. So we're going to try to put those right here. Don't over tighten it. Just as soon as it's there, then just be done. Yep, that's good. It's close, yeah. And then, so next, let's hang the solar charger. We're going to put it up here. You only got to go in like an inch. Not to go very far, yeah. That's fine. Put it on low because this cord's going to be, yeah. Because this line is level and I'm lining it up with this line on this side. So it should be pretty damn close.
Line?
Yeah, on those two, just right on the line with this. After running inside, you put another bolt. Yep. Let's get this drill out of your way. Okay, here, let me hold the unit. And set them right here.
This.
Wrench.
I'll see this.
What size is this? It's this size.
It's this size.
Next, we're going to install some breakers. The first one we're doing, I think I might have overkilled it. Because we have a 3,000 watt inverter, I read that we should be going with higher amp breakers. And this one is 600 amp. I meant to buy a 400. I don't know why I got a 600. I don't know if I ordered it wrong or if they sent me the wrong one. But I'm going to put it in for now. If anybody out there is an expert in this kind of stuff and can tell me if this is way too much or if this needs to be replaced, it will be easy to replace later. So if I need to go down on this thing, I can easily do so. But now we're going to put this up. This one, we got a couple of these to put in, but this one specifically is going to be between the batteries and the bus bars, so I can kill the power to the batteries anytime I want. And we can turn this on and off. Okay. We have all of our pieces hung right now. The next thing we have to do is wire it together. So we're going to have, just to kind of explain this, and we'll explain it again once it's done, but wires will be coming in from the solar panels to this breaker. Then wires will go from that to the solar charger, from the solar charger to the bus bars. Then there'll be wires going from the inverter to the bus bars. And then these wires here will go from this charger to the bus bars. And then there'll be wires that go from the bus bars to the batteries. And when these come, the positive will come through this breaker here. So basically, everything is getting wired to the bus bars, so it all kind of ties together as one thing. We have two different size wires. We're using a 1 gauge, I think it's one gauge and a 4 gauge. The heavier wire is going to be for the batteries to the bus bars and the inverter to the bus bars, and then the other size is going to be for everything else. But we have to cut these to length and use eyelets that we're going to solder onto these wires to make our proper size cables. So now we've got to do that. Wow. That did it. All right, and then from here to here.
You should sign in there.
Nice. Label them? Is that what you're saying I should do? I should. All right, this is, what is this from? The breaker. And then this one goes to bus.
We have our cables cut and labeled.
And now we're going to solder the eyelets to the ends of them.
So how's that? We're going to cut the end pieces?
Yeah, we're going to cut off a
Where's your knife?
little bit of the, it's in my pocket. All right, so now we are back working on this. Since we initially hung all this up, Elaine and I did this actually a week ago. And then we started putting together our cables and quickly realized that we did not have the right ends for our cables. They were too small or the cables were too big, however you want to look at it. In my opinion, the ends were too small because I bought the cables I think I should be using based on my research. If anybody out there knows anything about this system more than I do, which is probably most of you, please leave a comment on what I could do differently as far as different size cables, different size fuses or breakers or any of that. I am basing all this on what I learned from Sean in Alaska, and he did an amazing job on his system. And I'm trying to follow it to the T, but I might have made some mistakes with different sizings of things. So if anybody, including Sean, if you guys see anything I'm doing wrong, I can change any of this at any time. So if there's something that can be changed to make it safer or better, I'm happy to do that. I just need to know about it. So please leave a comment if you see something I'm doing wrong. So basically what happened is we had the wrong size, but now, as you've just seen, I got all these attached. We got the right size in, and these are all attached. They're soldered on and then shrink wrap around the ends of them. So I have all my cables made, and what I'm using, this is all 1 gauge. So this is what we are using to connect the batteries to the breaker that I have here, to the bus bars, back to the inverter. And that's all we're doing today. So as of today, we'll have the batteries, the inverter, and the charger, which connects to the generator, all hooked up. The solar part of this we're doing in another video. That's coming up over the next week or two. We're going to be kind of working on that. The first thing I want to do though is just get this battery system running. And the only thing I'm going to plug into it is the refrigerator. And we're going to let that run for many days, anywhere from 3 to 7 days, to get an idea of how much power just the refrigerator is pulling off these batteries and how long they'll last without being recharged. So I'm not going to be charging these batteries during that time, and I'm not going to have them hooked up to solar. The reason for that is because I want to see if Elaine and I decide to go on a 5, 7, 8 day camping trip. I want to see how much power that refrigerator is taking from these batteries and make sure that we're okay being gone for a long period of time in case I have no sun or no way to charge the batteries and I have to rely on just the power that's in these batteries to power the refrigerator while we're gone. What I've already done off camera is just charged both of these batteries and then linked them together in parallel. And the reason I did that is because in the owner's manual, it says that the first time we charge these batteries, to charge them one at a time separately, regardless of how many we have. So I have 2. We charged each one separately, fully to 100%. They came from the factory, or we got them with already a 55% charge. With the charger I have, it only took me about 2 hours to top off each battery. So I ran the generator for 4 hours and got these 2 batteries to 100%. Then it's suggested to have these batteries hooked parallel for 12 to 15 hours. I don't know why, but it said to do that, so I did. So the batteries yesterday were fully charged to 100%, and then I hooked them up in parallel, and they have been sitting this way now for about 16 hours now. So now we are going to hook the battery to the bus bars, the charger to the bus bars, and the bus bars to the breaker and the inverter, and then plug it in the fridge and just let it go and see what happens. So my batteries are going to stay in parallel anyway. So they're hooked up in parallel. They're going to stay that way. And parallel means that the negative of each battery is just connected together and the positive is just connected together. So I just have this one cable that is running from the negative of this one down to the negative of the one below it, and the positive down to the one below that. Okay, so the first problem I've already run into is the type of ends that I put on these cables are made to take off the nut or the bolt and then have it go through this. It's an eyelet. And these don't seem to want to come off. They're very tight. They come loosely until the end. If I continue to unscrew this, I feel like I'm going to damage this, like break it, because it's so tight. So I think these are made for the kind that the end of this is open and it slips on and then bolts down, which isn't a problem. I guess the way to solve that is I'm not going to cut these and go buy new ones and resolder them on. I'm just going to take my grinding wheel and just kind of grind off a little piece of that. So let's do that. That was quick and simple. So now we can just slip those on there and get those attached without having to break anything trying to release that, trying to pull that bolt off. Here. Here, which is between the batteries and the bus bar. This is a 600 amp. I don't know why I got 600 amp. I thought I ordered a 400 amp when I ordered it, but when I read something, I remember reading something and it was bigger than I thought it should be, and maybe I read I should have 600, but anyways, this is 600 amp. So if you think that this is too big, please let me know. I can change this. And then the other one is going to be a 400 amp fuse that goes from the batteries to the wires that connects. And I don't know if those are necessary or, again, the right size. I'm going to put them on for now. So again, if it's something that needs to be changed, let me know. So this one has these little plastic slots like a filler that goes into the side of this. And rather than leaving that whole thing open, I am going to cut out a hole just the size for the cable. So just the cable's going in here. So it's kind of cleaner and less exposure to those lines in there. Okay, now we're going to drill a 3/4 inch hole right in the end of these, not in the middle because the cable's not going through it. It's going to be so it's like a circle here so that it slips over the cable. So I got to clamp this down to a board and try to get that just precise. Like that. Now I'm going to run in and check that the cable fits in this before I do the other one. I'll be right back. Doesn't fit 100%, so we're just going to cut these corners off. I'm just cutting off these little corners where it rounds so it's a little straighter there. And then it should fit just perfect. Let's see. Now that we'll be able to slide right over that cable and not have such a big exposed area. So it's going to work out nice. The reason they're labeled is for different reasons. For one, there are certain lengths, but also the sides that went into this breaker, the hole is a 1/2 inch instead of everything else is 3/8. So I have different ends on these two right here, different eyelet sizes. So I had to make sure that I had those put on properly. Back to the wall. Right up there. Now we're going to attach the charger to the bus bar. The charger came with the cables. This right here just plugs into this end, and then these will attach right here. This works out nice. This charger is the Lifetime, I guess is the brand. It is a 14.6 volt 80 amp charger. These are 300 amp batteries, so it takes this charger approximately 4 hours, just under 4 hours, to charge these batteries each from 0 to 100. This is the pure sine wave, so it works great for these batteries. And this plugs right into our Honda generator when we want to charge these up when we're not using solar. The batteries we're using today are Beta 300 amp self-heating, 300 amp hour, 12.8 volt self-heating LiFePO 4. So the last thing we're doing today, or no, it's not the last thing we're doing, but the last thing we're doing right here is we are hooking up these 400 amp fuses that will go from the battery to the cables that are going to the bus bars. Now, I have 4 of these. So another question for you, if you're an expert on this stuff, should I have these on each battery? Or since the batteries are in parallel, am I okay just having these coming off these top batteries here where the cables run from the batteries to the bus bar? That's how I'm going to do it at first. I'm just going to hook up these two. And the way these work is I'm going to loosen these cables off the terminals, just tighten those down, and then use these to connect the other cables straight to the bus bars so that it's in line. If I'm doing something wrong, or if these should be smaller than a 400 amp or larger, or I should have the two sets on, please let me know in the comments. Okay, we're almost ready to hook up the batteries. I'm not going to quite yet because the next step I'm going to do, which is the last step before hooking these batteries up, is I'm going to ground all this. This is another place where I'm not 100% sure on whether I'm doing this correctly or not. The only place this is going to be grounded is on the inverter. And if that's wrong, please let me know. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go outside. I'm going to drive a 8-foot grounding rod into the ground right next to this corner on the outside of the building. The reason I'm doing it here is because eventually when this is completely finished, there's going to be a sub panel right here, or panel that runs off of this inverter, and that panel then runs all the power to the cabin. So this is going to be the ground rod for eventually, that's going to be the ground for the whole cabin. So if you've seen our videos in the past, I did drive a grounding rod in and hook it up to the plumbing lines, and I'm putting a second one in. It kind of sucks because I hate driving these rods, but at least now the ground is thawed out so I can do it. But the way everything's positioned, it would be too much of a pain in the butt to try to run a copper line all the way over to that grounding rod, which is about 20 feet away. So I don't even know if that's allowed. I think you're supposed to be less than that far from the rod to the panel. So we're just going to drive another rod in. They're not that expensive because they're not solid copper. If they were, but they're not. They're copper plated. I don't know if they're nickel or what they are. But anyways, I'm going to go outside, drive another rod, and then we're going to run this copper wire. This is a 6-gauge wire. We're going to run this up through the cabin and ground the inverter. And then once that's grounded, then we'll hook up the batteries and test it out and see how we're doing. Next, we're going to drill a 3/16 inch hole down through this floorboard so that this solid copper wire can run down to the grounding rod and then up into here. And eventually we'll just run straight up here into the panel. The panel is going to be in this bay, which is why we're specifically doing this bay. This little crimping tool will work for this. We're going to try it. Yep, worked good. Okay, everything's hooked up. Next thing we're going to do is turn on power. So now the power should be going to the bus bars and out. I don't have the inverter on, so now we're going to turn that on. Okay, so seems to be working. The first thing I'm going to do to test it is just plug something into it real quick and just see what happens. See what happens. Boom. That's working.
our power system is going to be done in 3 stages.
Yes. Stage 1 is done. So stage 1 is just getting the batteries in and the inverter and the charger so that we can charge it off a generator and run the house or the cabin off the batteries.
Now we're going to break down all the costs of this system. Now let's start with the cheapest thing, and then we're going to work. So the cheapest thing here is the eyelets of the cable. They are $1.50 each, and total of $22. So this is the 400 amp fuse. It's $4 each, total of $8. So this 600 amp breaker is $27. So these 2 bus bars came with a set. Total cost is $32. The grounding wire, rod, and lug costing of $53. For the wire, we paid $60, but that is a roll of 25 feet each, and we only use 1/4 of it. And this charger that runs off the generator costs $260. This inverter is $380, and these 2 batteries is $600 each, for a grand total of $1,994.
And that is only stage 1. That does not include any of the solar part of it that we have not hooked up yet. That's going to be stage 2, is hooking up the solar charger, the fuses that come off of that. There's going to be 2 solar chargers actually, and then the panels. That's going to be coming in a future video. As of now, we're just running off of the generator, and we're going to be hooking up the panels here in a few days, but the video won't be out for probably a few weeks because we've got some other videos that coming that are exciting, including
our 1-year anniversary of off-grid video.
Yep. If you have any questions you want answered about living off-grid, either how we're doing it or just how to do it, please leave them in the comments. We're not filming that video till June 5th and 6th, so if it's not those dates yet, we'll see the comments and we'll include the answers to those questions.
And we're excited to share whatever we learned from last year.
Yeah, so that'll be out soon. Yeah, it will be the next video. Okay.
On our first day of the Wednesday market. Soldotna or Kenai market.
Oh yeah, we'll bring you a video for that. And also there's going to be an update very soon within the next week or two. A very short video, probably only about 5 minutes, but an update on the use of our indoor toilet, our composting toilet, and what we think of it so far.
Thanks for watching. And if you like our video, if you enjoyed our video, please hit the like button or put a comment and like the button.
Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.